This is a film study series that I try to put out each week called One Play Wednesday. And in this case, I'm going to focus on Ashton Jeanty's 64-yard touchdown to help the Raiders take the lead in the first half of their 25-24 loss to the Chicago Bears. Talk about Jeanty so far during the season. Of course, he's playing behind what I would consider to be a subpar offensive line. Nonetheless, he was able to produce 3 touchdowns and I think 138 rushing yards last week in the loss to Chicago. The Raiders have gone interception and then fumble by Jeanty on a 4th down on their first 2 possessions. We'll pick this up on their 3rd possession. I actually will cover all 3 of his touchdowns against Chicago. This is going to be a pass play, what I generally refer to as a cheat play to the top side of our screen, the left-hand side of the Raiders offense. Geno Smith's going to reverse pivot out. Jeanty runs out into the flats immediately. You get a pseudo pin down block by the tight end up to the top side, and that kind of clears the path for Geno. In addition, because of the route by the number 1 receiver, the topside corner is totally occupied, and it puts a lot of stress on the inside linebacker to get out into the flats quick enough to defend Ashton Jeanty. It's a route concept, or a play concept, I should say, that's been utilized across the NFL almost every game that I have seen this season. Either the Seahawks, Lions, or the Ravens have someone, either they or the team they're facing, has run this concept at least once every week. I've got it 7 times through 4 weeks just from those games that I've covered. In this case, this is a short touchdown pass, 8 yards, in fact, to Jeanty, that gives the Raiders a 7-3 lead, I think, in the second quarter. It really takes advantage of, first of all, the design, outflanking the inside linebacker for the defense, but also the hands and the ability for Jeanty to move as soon as he catches the ball. Not only move and accelerate as soon as he catches the ball, but change direction and or, in many cases, break tackles. And we'll give you one example of that on the last play that we'll show you in this video. So this is now 5th possession into the second quarter. Raiders will take a 14-6 lead. This is, of course, his long touchdown run, 64 yards across the left side into the boundary. So I think they're controlling the look that they're getting from the Bears. And I call this jet follow. So meaning there's motion to the same side that the running back goes to, follow, as opposed to jet dive, which would be jet to one side, the bottom side of our screen, and then the run concept opposite of it. So just 2 simple phrases that help me and others kind of remember whether the play goes with the motion or against the grain of it. I think it's a really nice job by the guards and the center for the Raiders, but also by the guys on the outside. So the motion man, I think it's Thornton, goes to get the nickel DB that followed him, and then the boundary side receiver, I believe that's Myers, but I could be wrong, goes to get the outside corner. And you can see that's the exact lane that Jeanty goes through in between those 2 defenders, those 2 blockers. In addition to that, not only has he got great speed, but contact balance is off the charts. I don't know what the broken tackle numbers look like for the season. I briefly tried to look them up. It seems to me like every game that I watch the guy, he's breaking 2 or 3 tackles, and oftentimes having to do so behind the line of scrimmage. I think the offensive line there in Vegas obviously needs a reworking in the offseason, and anything they can do to improve it now would just help unlock Jeanty, who's already got 268 yards, I think, through 4 games. So if you extrapolate that out over a 17-game season, of course, he's on his way to a 1,000-yard season. I think the yards per carry and yards per touch are just going to improve. He's already got 4 touchdowns, 2 on the ground and 2 through the air. Same play from the end zone angle. So when I say control feature, this is what I mean. It's 11 personnel with the tight end set to the right. So what that does is puts the 3 technique to the right and the 1 or shade nose tackle on the opposite side. So the Raiders, they know what they're going to get. They know that the zone scheme they're going to run, in this case, the left guard is going to combo the nose up to the front side inside linebacker, I think Terrell Edmonds, and then the right guard, JPJ, is going to combo the 3 technique up to the Mike linebacker, number 44. Now, he doesn't actually finish off 44 totally. It's an impressive rep from 58 nonetheless. I don't know why that guy wasn't starting. If you watch the film from last season, it seems like he'd be a clear-cut starter, but Pete Carroll and his son have other ideas. But here's the lane that Jeanty hits. You can see a little bit of a settling of his feet here to try to figure out where to go. Puts his foot in the ground. Doesn't really have to break a tackle until Biard, almost 32 yards downfield. Just great contact balance and ability to make people miss or break tackles in multiple ways. Here he's just stepping out of it, clearing his cleats out of the way. 64-yard touchdown, like I said, puts them up. I don't know what the broken tackle data is. Like I said, I've seen at least 6 or 7 from him in the limited film that I've watched so far. Finally, even though this is supposed to be called One Play Wednesday, we'll talk about Jeanty's 2nd touchdown catch. I think this is in the 3rd quarter. And I think it's a great illustration of his ability to put his foot in the ground and then make a move as soon as he gets the football. Oftentimes, unfortunately, in the backfield, he's been confronted with a defensive tackle, defensive end, or a blitzing linebacker or safety immediately. That was the dynamic on the failed 3rd and 2 run in the fourth quarter when the Raiders were trying to make the field goal, a little bit more makeable or a little bit more manageable. Breaks the tackle up against Edmonds, who's a quality inside linebacker. And it's the way that he catches the football and then turns immediately, almost like as he's catching the ball, because he understands where the linebacker is. He's a real weapon in the pass game. I know that the yards per catch are not good so far this season. I think it's 2.9. I expect that to improve. I would expect that the offensive staff for the Raiders, has seen all that we've in training camp and in practice, has seen everything we are, which is superb talent, ability to break tackles, make a 4-yard gain or a 3-yard gain turn into a 7 or an 8-yard gain, whether it's a handoff or a reception. Jeanty looks like exactly what we thought from in college. Got superb ability to break tackles and create additional yardage after contact, after the catch. There was a failed 4th down conversion earlier in the game where a defensive tackle just blows up the offensive line, and he's confronted with it. Jeanty is confronted with the defensive tackle immediately. No-win situation from his perspective. And then the 3rd and 2 later in the game where Biard is blitzing from a 5-2 look. And again, there's nothing that Jeanty can do. If you're a Raiders fan, you're welcome to let me know what you think of the offensive line. As a Ravens fan, as poor the performance has been from our offensive line in 2025, watching some of this film, I feel your pain. I feel your pain in having a superstar talent, someone who hasn't been able to be unlocked consistently yet. He did have, I think, 138 yards rushing here, the 3 touchdowns, 2 from Geno, who's been inconsistent. It's a little surprising for me. I spent a lot of time the last year watching Geno Smith film and trying to produce Seahawks videos, and I expected more consistency from him. He does have 6 touchdowns, but 7 interceptions as well. In any case, if you enjoyed this iteration of One Play Wednesday, please let me know in the comment section, number 1. Number 2, if you think Raiders fans, or football fans in general for that matter, would enjoy this film study look at Ashton Jeanty's 64-yard touchdown and kind of how the Raiders made it happen, then please consider grabbing a link to this video, sharing it out on social media to help this content get more reach.